Hi, everybody. This is James, my real name, also known as Vile here on this page, for those of you who know me by that name. Um, it's about a little after 2 a.m. on June 6, 2026, and I've been going back and forth in my head for the last few weeks, maybe even months, if I was gonna do a video like this. But after some stuff that went on yesterday, I really decided that I wanted to just sit down and get it all out there and explain it all. So here we go. Late last year, probably around July, maybe August, somewhere around there, I was having a lot of issues on and off for weeks, swallowing regular food, sometimes swallowing drinks. It kept changing on and off all the time. Fast forward a couple more months into September and October, it started to get pretty noticeable. It wasn't until, actually no, it was not. It wasn't until in October I finally went to a hospital to see if they could find what was going on. Initially, I thought that it was something that was contributed to my thyroid, because I know that I have nodules on both sides of my thyroid, which are things that were discovered back in 2020. Everybody knows what went on back then, so I didn't have any time to get it taken care of, unfortunately, and I still haven't. But I'm gonna get on that when I get a chance to. They're not harming me at all, so that's a good thing. So I went to the hospital, got a couple of different tests there done, followed up with my primary doctor, and he sent me out for various tests to be completed. The one that finally figured everything out and finally gave me the answer that I needed, not that I wanted, but I needed, was a upper GI endoscopy, which happened in, I believe, late November, early December, somewhere around that time frame, I believe. And a lot of it's a blur, which I guess is no surprise. But yeah, so the upper GI endoscopy got done, and a few weeks later, that was when I finally got the phone call from the doctor. He actually ended up calling my wife, Amanda, because I had been sleeping for most of the day. It was a day off from work, didn't have anything to do, so I just ended up sleeping most of the day. And yeah, she woke me up, puts him on speakerphone, and he had let me know that the growth that had been found in my throat, in my lower esophagus, it was cancerous. And that is basically where my actual cancer journey starts. The exact title of what I have, or at this point possibly had, was gastroesophageal junction cancer, which is a tumor that is in the lower esophagus and also gets a little bit into the stomach. So that all got discovered a little bit before Christmas of last year. Stopped doing my regular duty after that. Basically, my days were just full of doctor's appointments, talking to different specialists to see what what plan was. I got set up at the New Mexico Cancer Center right away, to get started on a chemo treatment. Also for them to look at the biopsies that were taken by the gastroenterologist that did I did the endoscopy. So they found out that my cancer was, thankfully, only stage 2B. So it hadn't spread anywhere, it was localized. And from there, in February of this year, I started my chemo sessions. Which, looking back on now, although they were difficult, were really not that bad. And I'll get to why here in a little bit. I also got set up to see a doctor at the University of New Mexico here in Albuquerque, and that doctor proposed a surgery that could rectify the situation, which is called I might get the name wrong on this. I apologize if I do. A Ivor Lewis gastroesophectomy, which, if I have that word correct, and I think I do, is basically, most people that know an esophectomy is where your esophagus or part of your esophagus is removed and the stomach is stretched up. Well, for me, because the tumor was so low in my esophagus and kind of protruding into my stomach, they took only a part of my esophagus and a part of my stomach and refused them back together. And that is why you see me here in the hospital right now. I'm ideally now on my last day of recovery from that surgery, which happened Saturday now, a week ago on Thursday. So part of my esophagus is now gone, part of my stomach is now gone. The nearby lymph nodes have also been gone. And yeah, there's a reason why I said that I would rather go through chemo again. It sucked, but chemo was actually a lot easier than this. That's where everything lands at today, in this unfortunate situation that I'm in. So far has not been any real complications, other than the day before yesterday, on Thursday, on June 3rd, maybe June 4th. I'm sorry, the days are kind of just blending together. I might be wrong. But on Thursday, I was having CTs done every day. I was having blood work done every day, as well as various different other tests. I had a contrast swallow test that was done that originally showed that there were no leaks, no complications. Well, they ended up going back to my doctor and saying that they thought they had found a leak. So the doctors pushed what was supposed to be my release date back so that they could get looking at on that. And that ended up being the worst day, because up until that point everything had been going great, and that felt like it was the biggest punch in the stomach, and that it was the worst setback. And I finally broke down and started to really take into account everything that had been going on. Sorry. I never exactly accepted that this would happen, or that this was happening. For those that don't know, I did watch my mother pass away from cancer. She unfortunately had multiple myeloma, which is a version of cancer that is very hard to beat and very quick to take. She was diagnosed in June or July of 2014, and gone after multiple bouts of chemo, multiple bouts of stem cell transplants. She was gone by September 2017. My cancer is a lot more treatable. It's a lot, I can't say easier because it's absolutely not. I will never say that it's easy, especially after this, with the surgery and everything. Sorry, I still have one of my chest tubes in right now. That's why you might see me going in some pain a little bit. But even after that phone call that we got telling myself and my wife that I had cancer, it never really even set in. Like I said, my wife came into the room, woke me up out of a deep sleep, and had the doctor on the speakerphone. And when they told me that it was cancerous, literally all I said was, "Okay, well, I'll get started on that." That legitimately was my reaction. I never broke down until the day before yesterday, because everything had been going so good. Everything had been going as was planned. There were no hiccups, nothing. Well, it's not entirely true. One of the hiccups that did happen was after my first chemo treatment, my white blood cells did tank, and I became neutropenic, but it didn't. That was expected in a sense, but even that didn't even hit me as hard as being told that there was the chance that there was a leak from the surgical site that had been done and created in me. All they had to do was push my chemo back by a week, and my white blood cells came back up. Actually, as a matter of fact, my white blood cells got really good again after that, after I started doing some other stuff to try and push that through. On Thursday, though, everything just really started to hit in the worst possible way. And I've only cried in front of my wife a handful of times in the 14 years that we've been together, 10 years that we've been married. And that one it hit in the worst possible way, which I think you can hear in my voice, just thinking back on it. And it got even worse later on that night, when she had, from here at the hospital, she video called our son. And she was sitting back here. I was sitting right here in the chair that I'm in right now. And I didn't turn around to look at the video screen or nothing, which is fine. I still was, I would still say stuff out. I would still talk to him and all that. But being told that there was a possible complication got me very hurt and very pissed off, because I was supposed to be home yesterday. The original plan was for me to be out of here by Friday, June 5th. And I know that he wants me back home. He's told me how much he wants me back home. That I want to be back home. And it was hard to try and just look at that screen and tell him that I wasn't going to be home when I thought I was. So everything really came to a head. And I wasn't happy about it. But thankfully, As it turns out, there was no leak. I had a test done today that showed that there was no leak. So, or not today, sorry, I had the test done yesterday. So right now, everything is going ahead as it's supposed to be. I should have this other chest tube taken out later on today. And I should be going home. No, this one. I should be going home later on today, which is awesome. I want to thank everybody that has talked to me, that has been with me through all of this. All of the nurses, all of the doctors that have helped. There's not enough praise in the world for the jobs that they've done. Not just for me, but for everybody that I've seen here in this recovery wing. It does suck that this looks like it's going to be the end of my career, for those that know what I do for a living. But it's okay, because I do know that there will be some other good things that are going to come out of it. And that's what I'm leaning for at that time as I go forward. And I can't even give enough praise to my wife, because she has been here literally with me every single day. And that's no joke. She literally has been here every single day that I've been in the hospital. She's even been learning how to basically be my caregiver at home when I get home, because I'm still going to be on tube feeds for a while, unfortunately. I still have, the wounds healing and everything. I have staples going down here. I have staples going down my back right now. She's been learning how to take care of all of that. Ugh, sorry. I know that everybody's cancer journey is different. Some are easier, some are much more difficult. But even before going through it myself, I hope that everybody gets to at least have some form of positivity as they go through. It's not fair, it's not right that any of us should be going through this kind of stuff. But it's life, and life does what it does. You can't control it. I learned that a long time ago, the hardest ways. So, thank you to everybody who has been with me and kept up with me. And I'm glad to be here and gonna keep moving forward. Thank you all.